Is anyone familiar with this? Stephen Porges talks about the polyvagal theory. Has any of you heard about this? I didn't learn about this until I started learning TREs. Just to be clear, there are no double-blind studies supporting this, not supporting it. What I would tell you is that lots of physicians and lots of therapists worldwide find this extremely applicable to what they do. So the model does work, okay? So that's it, okay. We talked earlier about the guy doing the prostate biopsy. He had a vasovagal response, and we said, first of all, why wasn't he having a fight or flight response? Secondly, I thought the vagal nerve was our rest and digest system, but he was having a completely different response. The answer to that is there's actually two branches of the vagus nerve. There's a ventral vagal nerve that is our rest and digest system. It's responsible for things like social engagement, how well I interact with you, okay? There's actually branches of that nerve that go to my ear, so I can hear conversation, as opposed to low, threatening sounds, someone's outside my window, okay? My facial movements. My heart's open, I feel comfortable letting you in, that's ventral vagal. There's another branch of the vagus nerve that's responsible for more of the freeze or the immobility response. That's the answer to that question, okay? We're gonna spend a few minutes on this curve. When I taught classes at South Bay, many of the people thought this curve was worth the price of admission. I hope I can make it that way for some of you. Okay, down here, social engagement. Social engagement is a physiology. It means we're in our ventral vagal state. That's where our body's kind of doing the resting and digesting when we're in a ventral vagal social engagement state. The emotions that people might have in that state, we feel joyous, we're connected, we're grounded, we have this curiosity and this openness, okay? There's a compassion, we're mindful. Now, as the stress level goes up, here's stress, they're calling that arousal, but as the stress level goes up, we might go into a fight or flight state. That's, of course, sympathetic nervous system. Now, fight or flight is actually two different things. So if I'm fighting you, I'm moving towards the threat. I have emotions like anger, rage, okay? If I'm fleeing, I'm moving away. There's more nervousness, anxiety, or fear, okay? Now, if the stress keeps increasing and we're overwhelmed, there's that word overwhelmed there, then we might go into a parasympathetic dorsal vagal freeze mode. It's an immobility mode. You start to listen to how patients describe things, okay? Folks that either in their languaging, basically they say, I'm hopeless, I'm helpless, I'm powerless. I feel so much shame, I'm depressed. Doc, no one's been able to help me and no one ever will. It's helpless, it's a hopeless situation. Those people are physiologically frozen, okay? Now, it's not good for our health to be stuck in a parasympathetic freeze mode or even a high fight or flight mode. By the way, I was frozen most of my life, and my wife was high fight or flight. So to me, even though she had some, sorry Hattie, we're videotaping this. To me, it seemed like I'd won the lottery. She was like anxious and always go do it, and I was like in this chronic fatigue freeze, but she was doing so much better than me at the time. Fortunately, I've been able to get my physiology more often down here, and she's working her way down here, okay? Now, we said earlier, someone's having something happen in their life that feels terrifying, overwhelming, they can't handle it. Certain muscle groups lock down to hold the emotions inside and keep them from coming to conscious awareness. So even though it would be good for our health, we heal down here. That's the physiology that people heal from chronic illness. Most of our patients are stuck up here. A lot of my people are right up here. We want to come down this curve and get them down here, okay? The TREs, by the way, exert a downward pressure on the slope. They get people to unfreeze. The challenge is when folks start unfreezing their physiology and these muscle groups start loosening, what may come up to their conscious awareness is the same overwhelming feelings and sensations that made them freeze to begin with. So with the cohort of patients that I see, we have to go super, super, super slowly and safely. I have to teach people to, first of all, get out of their head into their body. I have to teach them to notice sensations. We have to teach them, as Mike was doing, that's beautiful, start training their nervous system, their neurology to notice some good feelings or at least some neutral feelings, okay? Sometimes I'll have like a fibromyalgia patient, I'll say, can you find a part of your body that doesn't hurt? And after like a minute or two, they can't find a place. I mean, it's like the little toe on the right foot, okay? Then that's where we have to start. then send your attention and awareness to that. We have to get them starting noticing differences. All of us are really good at noticing the same stuff, right? Okay, we have to start noticing differences. So with the cohort of people I see, take a very slow, safe, conservative approach. Now, folks that are down here, you just do TREs, they come back down, they feel awesome. Okay, clear? One last thing about social engagement, if I may. All right. Because I was in freeze most of my life, I was not particularly socially engaged. Now, if you met me in the office, you'd say, man, Eric's a good guy, you know, I could slap him in the back and tell you some jokes and this and that, but I was not really that comfortable around people. I definitely wouldn't let them in. I didn't like having people stay at my house, okay? I would, you know, my wife's complaint was that we didn't go out and socialize with people. I was not in social engagement. So my father-in-law, who I love, we have a great relationship, he comes over every Sunday, the guy wants to play cards. For 20-something years, I couldn't sit down and play cards with the guy. I couldn't play one hand with the guy. Loved the man, couldn't do it, because I was not in social engagement. So one of the biggest testaments, I started doing TREs, and after a few months of doing it, Joe came over, and I sat down and played cards with him for a couple hours. That seemingly like a simple nothing thing, it was actually a huge thing. It meant that I was getting my physiology back in social engagement. It's not a little thing, it's a huge thing, okay? All right. You guys familiar with Dr. Bruce Lipton? Yeah, people heard. He wrote The Biology of Belief and a number of other books. So Lipton was a cell biologist.
It's not our Bruce Lipton, the ER doctor.
No.
No.
This guy's a PhD cell biologist from Stanford. But he talks about when our system's in a physiologic stress state, the cells take kind of a defensive posture and are in survival mode. Okay? It's not until our physiology normalizes that the cells undergo growth and healing. So the take-home message for that is, if we have patients that are chronically sick, we don't heal very well when we're locked in a chronic stress physiology. I think the body has a phenomenal ability to heal itself. I've seen a steady stream of miracles, but you have to find out a way to turn off that stress physiology. Clear? Okay. Another case report. A number of years ago, a 30-year-old woman came to me, severe pelvic pain. She said she had the pain 24/7. Have you guys heard that before, you pain folks? It hurts 24/7. That should be a red flag in your brain, okay, for what we're going to discuss next. I walked in the room. Before I even shook her hand, she goes, Robbins, I want you to take me to the OR, take a chainsaw, and just cut off the lower part of my body. That's how bad it hurts. It's pretty significant pain, okay? I mean, of course, I was thinking things like, you know, there's some logistics here, like you're going to be rolling around on a little scooter wheelie thingy, and we got to divert your urine, and you're going to have a colostomy, and it's significant, okay? If I see 10 people a day with pain, they say, Doc, I have pain, and I say, what do you mean by that? What are the raw physical sensations in your body? I know, like you do a lot of mindfulness, these are kind of some mindfulness questions, okay? What are the raw physical sensations you're experiencing? If I see 10 people a day, one person there feels too hot, the other too cold, the other pressure, the other tingling. So I wanted to know, what is she experiencing? It took me a while when I went to the ER, it was this bad. I said, understand, let's just talk about sensation. It took me a while to coach her, okay? In her words, there's a mild throbbing pressure in my vagina. That's her words. So I'm thinking to myself, not judgmentally, I'm trying to figure out, how does that sensation lead to somebody who's feeling it all the time and wants us to do a major surgery? I'm trying to reverse engineer that, okay? Chronic pain has three components. There's the raw physical sensations, just described them: warmth, pressure, tingling, throbbing. This guy came to me, Doc, I've got severe pain in my penis. Severe pain. What the raw sensations were a little slight tingling sensation. But his mind kept going there, going there. Okay. There's also how we think about these uncomfortable sensations. Has a huge effect. And there's how we think about them and how we feel about the sensations that can trigger a dramatic amplification of the discomfort. Got it? Okay, these next few slides, I want to give attribution. There's a guy named Howard Schubiner, wrote a book called Unlearn Your Pain. And what I like about Schubiner, he read all the papers, the double-blind studies, all this literature, and does a really nice job simplifying it in his book. And since I hate big words, there's a few big words here, but it's relatively simple, and yet it explains a little more of the science. I'm just going to read through these slides, okay? Yep. All right. Nerve pathways in the brain can get reinforced over time by our reactions to the pain. Folks who react to their pain with fear, anger, anxiety, frustration, etc., these thoughts and emotions trigger amplification in the brain. If folks have a past history of trauma or a great deal of unresolved stress, they have increased amplification. Emotional responses increase the activity of the ACC, the anterior cingulate cortex, causing the pain to be amplified. When the ACC is activated, it turns off another part of our prefrontal cortex, which is a part of the brain that normally decreases pain. Chronic stress produces an increased sensitivity to pain in the brain, spinal cord nerves. Cytokines released during stress sensitize nerve endings. Got it? When the nerves that carry pain signals from the site of an injury to the brain are activated for some period of time, the nerves become sensitized. Send a magnified message to the brain, right? The sensitized nerves also sensitize corresponding parts of the brain. They say, you've heard that expression, nerves that fire together, wire together, and this leads to central pain. Okay? The pain may start here, but nerve fibers, pain fibers in the spine and brain become sensitized. That's also what causes phantom pain if you think about it. The end organ's gone. Okay? The ways in which people think about their pain and the feelings connected to it have a great impact on the severity of the pain. Studies show that both anxiety and anger can cause a lower pain threshold and an increase in muscle tension. And people that suppress their emotions, it actually leads to even higher pain levels. Fear, worry, rejection activate the ACC, anterior cingulate cortex, the amygdala, and the autonomic nervous system. There's enhanced pain sensitivity. When the autonomic nervous system gets involved, it can activate a fight or flight, and this produces a lot of the stuff we already talked about. Nerve activation, muscle tension, the GI system, the viscera don't work like they should, cardiovascular activation, things like that. Okay. You guys probably all remember Ivan Pavlov, the conditioned responses, Pavlov's dogs. Okay, so Pavlov, as you know, gave some dogs some meat, they salivated, he rang a bell. Gave the dogs meat, they salivated, he rang a bell. Gave the dogs meat, they salivated, he rang the bell. Then, he did this experiment, he rang the bell, there was no meat, and the dogs salivated. Now, by the way, is this, what's happening here, the dogs salivating, is that problem in their head? No, it's clearly not. They're having, there's an environmental trigger, and they're having a physiologic response to that, right? It's all, mind-body stuff is almost all physiology, okay? This is a Schubiner quote. Hopefully some of you can relate to this. I know I can with my patients. Once a pain pathway has started, if it occurs during a stressful situation that also happens to coincide with eating a certain food, drinking red wine, seeing a certain kind of light, meeting a certain person, the brain will learn that association. Then the next time you're exposed to that association, you can get a conditioned response. Interesting. Migraine folks, they drink something, the light, it triggers it. Okay? I think, yeah, one more Schubiner quote. We're moving on pretty good, guys. I'm going to try and keep this about an hour. I think I've got maybe 10 minutes for this part, then we'll take a 15-minute break, okay? This is from Schubiner's book, Unlearn Your Pain. The processes of an overactive autonomic nervous system, an ACC, they produce excess muscle tension and spasm, promote nerve hypersensitivity, can be triggered by all sorts of conditioned responses, food, activities, chemicals, people. These are the cause of most of the chronic pain symptoms and syndromes.